So the endeavors of this Shastra Vidya is to make that Sanatan Dharma successful. And successful in the sense that dharma is called, is above all else. So without your dharma, like, you are nothing, and so on. So if your morals and ethics and such are compromised, you know that. So there is the foundation of dharma. So even Kshatriya I teach is aggressive, and it can be, but it's not that kind of, it's efficient in terms of dealing with what he needs to deal with, but it is ultimately grantor of peace. Hinsa dharmadago, kima dharmarago. So it gives you peace and contentment of mind, body, spirit. So physically, young men, even old people, like I said, because it's not depending on muscle. You could be 60 years old, like I'm 60 years old. You could be 60, 70. You could still train in this because it's not dependent on those muscles. I mean, here, Jatin, come here. I mean, this art is not athletic, but at the same time, it can outmaneuver. It's quicker, it's faster, it's stronger than an athlete. Is he athletic? What's the art like?
No, it's not at all athletic, because whoever is an athlete, he realized that after after the age of 30 years, your performance declines heavily, and but this is the beauty of this art, Sanatan Shastar Vidiya. As you grow old, it becomes a lot more, skilled. You become a lot more efficient. So this, as I said earlier, it's completely opposite. So as you grow old and you are still practicing Vidya, you'll becoming more efficient, more agile, more skilled, and more fast.
So even if you're like completely new to it, like say you haven't, I said, you never train in your life and whatever, you can still, you can start this and still progress in it, because, I mean, at what age can't you relax? Think about it. What age can't you relax? Because relaxing is the main thing here, like. And so once you learn to relax and so on, so you need a functioning body. That's the only thing we have to say. Your body needs to be functional and so on. And then if your body is functioning, and then we can get the adequate fitness and so on, and you can train and so on. And then this will revolutionize, change your whole mindset. Like living a life in fear, there's nothing worse than living a life in fear, like, and so on. How many children at school get bullied or whatever? How many people live in fear, or they don't want to go out, this, and so on. So to live a life which is nirpay. So the Guru says, like, nirpay hota Gur ka Singh kalhaiye. Only you become fearless can you be a Sikh, a disciple of the Guru. Like, okay, if there's fear inside you,
you cannot.
They cannot be like, and that's every tradition as well. I can't be a Bhakt of Vishnu. I can't be a Bhakt of Shiva. I can't be a Bhakt of anybody. I can't be a sannyasi, I can't be a baragi, I can't be this, I can't be that. If there is fear there. That's why the first, what's called reflection is on Bhairo. Confront your fears, overcome them, and then you start training. Like, so the beginning, you will start in terms of like, apta pala, my own welfare. Because people come to train, say, I want to learn how to defend myself, blah, blah. That's there, that's the beginning, that's it. Lower end. At the end, you're talking about sarbatta pala, subhit. Yeah, for everybody's interest, like in the Bhagavad Gita it says, and so on. So you want to train in that sense and so on. I mean, there's a beautiful, like, if I can, just, before we conclude, there's a beautiful quote that we're using from the Rig Veda. Okay, so the ancient masters in the Sanatan world, in the Sikh world, they go, there's this particular quote is in Rig Veda, is verse 10, 191.4. Okay, so that's where it is. And in this beautiful verse, it so sums up everything that we want. So when people nowadays say, look, there's no such thing as an Indian nation. The whole Khalstan said this. They say, oh, there's no such thing as Indian nation. Indian nation only came about when the British came about. But the self-identity of Indians as being a distinct Sanatan culture or a particular culture is old as the Rig Veda.
Yes.
And that means from the beginnings of time, they all understood. And in this beautiful verse, I'll give it in English here, like, you can easily look up the English verse, the Sanskrit, like I said, look up the verse, which is 10.191.4, like, okay? And look it up. So all those people when people say like, oh, the Indian nation has never been a nation, blah blah blah. Normally I give them the quote, then I slap them in the head like, because that's what Kshatriyas can do as well like. So he says, this is the translation. He says, let your aims be common, and your hearts of one accord, and all of you be of one mind, so you may live well together. If that's not a call to nationhood, what is like? Think about it. And that's the Rig Veda. That's from the beginnings of time. You can't get more Sanatan than the Rig Veda. Like. So the app that we have is being created by a company called Buddhabari, the Ocean of Wisdom. And that is his motto like we're using, and so on. So Sanatan Shastar Vidiya, and is the way I envisage it here in this country in particular, is that its purpose is to bring that code to the Rig Veda into reality, like, and so on. So we Indians are a culture which is not a homogeneous culture. It is a political culture. The Indian culture has always been tolerant, so you can have the Khat Darshans with opposite views, but they can all relate to one thing, and that everything is one Brahm. And so everything is infinite, but the end is one. At the same time, so this kind of understanding, the Kshatriyas in the past kept the Indians together. The Kshatriyas did not only guard the borders, but they bound society together as well, like, and so on. So youth, our elderly, our communities, if they have the Kshatriya, if not even the Kshatriya skills, the Kshatriya bhavana, like, it will transmute India completely, like. No one calls, when I go outside, no one says to me that Indians are nerdy, only nerdy, like. I have soul sing to tell them otherwise. But the same thing is, and like I said, the Kashtanis and so on, this kind of knowledge, when you point this out to them, apart from, they can spew hate on the internet. Not to my face, because I have him again, like. There, they can do what they want. But this Rigvedic verse is what Guru Gobind Singh, it was the philosophy that, because in the Guru Gobind Singh, Guru Nanak said, all these philosophies were taught like. So even today, I can show you a Dasi Baba talking about this. And we speak of this, the whole time, bringing the whole nation together and binding them in that Sanatan understanding, and so on. And that's what Kshatriya does. That's one of the missing links we have, like. So it is distinct from the yogis and sadhus. So I'll tell you how distinct, I'll tell you in this way. So the yogis and sadhus and sants, they have 5 virtues. Sat, Santokh, Daya, Dharma, Dij. Sat is truth, Santokh is contentment, Daya is compassion, Dharma is dharma, and then you have Dhirj, equipoise. So these are the 5 virtues of a sant. The Kshatriya has the same virtues but reversed. So if you're a sant, for you, Sat will be the greatest thing. Telling the truth is the best, that's it. I'm a Kshatriya. I need to have Dhirj first. If an enemy appears and is about to attack, I need to have Dhirj, equipoise, able to hold my ground. If I was going to contemplate Sat and run away, that ain't going to help me. Like. Then you're a Sant, you have Santokh, contentment. No, I have my Kshatriya dharma. I take my danda out. When I got Dhirj, then I take my weapons. That's my Kshatriya dharma. Then you have Daya, then we both have Daya. Because even when the Kshatriya killed, they never killed. So Kshatriya principle is simple. Never engage with someone who's weaker than you. Okay? And they will weigh everything up before they strike or hurt or kill. Because they are not Rakesh. They have Taram Daya Dan Yud, they are Biras, they are Bir warriors. They do not want to offend their goddess. So their goddess, our goddess, Devi Chandima, she expects that you keep your sense of called dharma, your self-respect and dignity all the time. Like, don't compromise your self-respect and dignity and so on. Otherwise, your mother gets deeply offended. Like, so they have Daya. So Sat, Santokh, Daya, and then they have Dharma. But that's what the Sant has Dharma. After that, we have Santokh after that, because we just go to the enemy that he's gone like now. Then last is Sat.
Sat.
So whereas a sadhu or a sant or a mahapurush, he will seek the truth and present the truth and live the truth and so on. The Kshatriya does the opposite. He looks for the lies. Because he's going to catch the chores, the thieves, the murderers and scum on the earth. So once he exposes the lies, the truth itself will emerge. So the mindset is slightly different of a Kshatriya, because he's Rajoguni and the Sant is Sattoguni. And for a true Kshatriya, his mindset, his intent, okay, his intent is Sattoguni. His mind and heart may be Rajoguni, dynamic and so on. And he has an element of tamas because he takes life if need be, like. And that's the last resort. It's not like he's not going to rush to it. So Kshatriya is that missing link, that last piece of the jigsaw puzzle of the Sanatan world that is required in India. And like I said, after when Guru Gobind Singh, in that period of time in history when the whole Hindu world was under attack by Aurangzeb and they were trying to annihilate the Hindus, Guru Tegh Bahadur sacrificed his life there. And at that point when Aurangzeb was telling him to convert in Surya Prakash, he replied simply, Dharma hamara Hindu ati priya. So my dharma is Hindu and is extremely loved by me. And later on Pant Prakash tells you this, Hindu ko palan Turk ko galan peo khalsa isse karan, to nurture the Hindus, to destroy the Turks. The Turks were here talking about the Mughals who were oppressive. Because in that period of Sikh armies, they had Muslims in the armies as well. We're not talking about persecuting Muslims, so we're talking about these Turks who were persecuting Muslims. So as a consequence, the Sanatan Dharma that we have, the Kshatriyas, they had that. When the British came, the world was turned upside down for the Sanatan Sikh world. So now with the Khalstanis and the Sikh revisionists, anything linked with the Hinduism, so even things like they say our Ram is different to your Ram, nonsense. Whereas I'm bringing out whole books which are dealing with this as well. Like there's a book called Sikh Quotes of Wisdom, The Secret Naam. In there, all these controversies, all this are about Ram this and Krishna this and this, I've dealt with them systematically in those texts. So because knowledge is, that's the Gyan card now coming, because I wield both. I have Low Kardik and Gyan Kardik. And then the books that's going to start coming out, the 3 volumes of Kshatriya, they're coming out with the app on Kindle. There's one on it called Naam Jap and so on. He'll tackle with all the stuff in the Guru Granth Sahib, his framework of understanding and all this controversy against Ram, Krishna and whatever. And then there's one Ugadanti explaining whole Devi worship in the Sikh world. That's coming out as well. And then there's Pakyan Chitra, which is dealing with all the deceptive characters in the world and so on. Because a Kshatriya is not a Santa like. A Kshatriya needs to think like a chore to catch a chore, needs to think like a murderer to catch a murderer, and so on. So the Kshatriya mindset should not confuse with a sadhu or a sant. He has different mindset. His intent is same as the sadhus. The intent of a sadhu or a sant is to uphold and promote and nurture dharma. The Kshatriya intent is exactly the same, except his mindset
has to be different.
Different, because a Kshatriya sits on the border, whereas a Sant is at the heart of society and leading by example and his wisdom. A Kshatriya is guarding the borders, and sometimes he may have to slightly like cross the border to deal with an enemy, look into the dark side and so on. But it's like, so whereas our Maryada, whereas our ideal is Ram, but our mindset is of Krishna Maharaj. So Krishna Maharaj is spoken of as Leela Purushottam. And whereas Sri Ramchandra ji is Maryada Purushottam. So Leela Purushottam in Punjabi we sum up like this. Sometimes to take the K out, you have to sort of bend the ungli and bring it out. So we have saying like, Bota mitha na hove, that they can eat you, and Bota koda na hove, they spit you like. So same with Lakdi, not too straight, not too bent. So we're that type of so on. So we have that bit of kotorta as well like. So whereas a sadhu will say, you should always speak the truth and speak it sweetly. And if the truth is bitter, you should not speak it. That's the sadhu way. In Kshatriya, we say, yes, you should speak the truth, whether it's sweet or bitter. Speak the truth. Doesn't matter. Sweetness is fine. If you can speak the truth sweetly, fantastic. But if the truth is bitter and it has to be said, and the bitter thing here in India is that the Kshatriya dharma has been neglected. and so on. So once this app and all that, I mean, I can understand there'll be people here who get scared. I mean, people are scared to have a talwar around, a sword around. I mean, in India, a lot of you can't keep a sword with an edge, without an edge on it. The Nihangs keep swords. Why? Because we never surrendered to the British. Never surrendered it. And you have to kill every Nihang to get to the sword. Like, they will never surrender because the sword is the Devi. Like, and the Devi is only there when the edge is razor sharp and the point is razor sharp. Otherwise, there's no. So in the Americas, in Europe, and everywhere I go, my sword, this goes with me. Like, but the rest of the Indians gave their weapons up. As a consequence, even today, the laws prohibit them. In the ancient days, if you were a law-abiding dharmic citizen, you could have weapons. If you were a criminal, you couldn't have weapons. Now it's the opposite. So the Maryada here now is for us to bring this back. And there's some Indians may be apprehensive. Some people are thinking, hang on a minute, we're going to make it into a violent society. But the opposite truth, like once the Vidya is understood properly, with this, because it's pros and dharma and so on, this is the most peaceful there is. Because you're informed by pure Gyan, there's a Gyan Kharg, and then there's a low Kharg, like, and so on. And so this will make society much more healthier, stronger, and peaceful. So they say this, if the more the tigers are in the jungle, the healthier the jungle is. Why? If the tigers are there, that means they have food there, like deer and wild boar. If the wild boar and deer are there, that means there's a lot of grass there. If there's a lot of grass there, there's rain and stuff. So the jungle's health is determined by how many tigers you have, predators in there. If you have more deer in there than tigers, that means it's healthy because they can eat everything. Same in our society. If you're in your society, in this, we have tigers, we have individuals with the same spirit as Rana Pratap, Rana Sangha, Shivaji Maratha Ji, and Guru Gobind Singh, and so on. Individuals who are not going to look away when some girl's getting harassed, not look away when some child's getting hurt or some old granny's being attacked and so on. People who have self-respect, they have integrity, have dignity, and they also have the bahubal. Kal mein kal karpan ki paran pujan ko paro proso, says Guru Gobind Singh. In Kal Yuga, in the dark age, Kal Rup Karpan, the death form Karpan, the Karpan of Shiv, Kal Rup Karpan, and Bhariyan, powerful arms. Because in times of Guru Gobind Singh, again, the Hindus have been cowered down for 700 odd years, 650 odd years by the Muslims that time, the Turks, the Mughals. As a consequence, they couldn't ride horses, they couldn't keep weapons, they couldn't keep their called turbans, beards, and so on. And as a consequence, Guru Gobind Singh then reversed all that. And the way he did that was through Shastra and Vidya.